Prince Rana. Once upon a time there lived Rex, whose filiae were all pulchri. But the youngest was so pulcherrima that the sun himself, although he saw her very often, was enchanted every time she came out into the sunshine. Near the castle of this Regus was a magna and gloomy silva, and in the midst stood an old arbor, beneath whose branches splashed a parvus fountain. So, whenever it was very hot, the youngest filia of Regus ran off into this silwam, and sat down by aquam of this fountain, and, when she felt dull, would often divert herself by throwing auream pillam up in the air and catching it, and this was her favorite amusement. Now, one day it happened that this aurea pilla, when filia Regus threw it into the air, did not fall down into her hand, but on the grass, and then it rolled past her into the fountain. Filia Regus followed Pillam with her oculis, but it disappeared beneath aqua, which was so deep that no one could see to the bottom. Then she began to lament and to cry louder and louder. And as she cried, a voice called out, "Why do you weep, O Filia Regus? Your tears would melt even a stone to pity." And she looked around to the spot whence the voice came, and saw Rana stretching his thick voidum caput out of aqua. "Ah, you old waddler," inquit she, "was it you that spoke? I am weeping for my aureum pillam, which has slipped away from me into aquam." "Never mind that," answered Rana. "I can help you. But what will you give me if I fetch up your pillam again?" "Whatever you like, dear Rana," inquit she. "Any of my dresses, my pearls and gemmas, or even the aureum crown that I wear?" Rana answered, "Dresses or gemmae or aureae crowns are none for me. But if you will love me, and let me be your friend, and sit at your table, and eat from your parva aurea plate, and drink aquam out of your cup, and sleep on your pillow, if you will promise me all these, then I will dive down and fetch up your aureum pillam." "Oh, I will promise you all," inquit she, "if you will only get me my pillam." But she thought to herself, what nonsense he talks, as if he could do anything but sit in aqua and croak with the other Ranis, or could possibly be anyone's companion. But Rana, as soon as he heard her promise, drew his caput under aqua, and sank down out of sight. But after a while he came to the surface again, with pilla in his ore, and he threw it on the grass. Filia Regus was overjoyed to see her pulchram pillam again, and she caught it up and ran off with it. "Stop, stop!" cried Rana. "Take me up too. I can non run as fast as you." But all his croaking was useless. Although it was loud enough, Filia Regus did not hear it, but hastening to Domum soon forgot poor Ranam, who was obliged to leap back into the fountain. The next day, when Filia Regus was sitting at table with Rege and all the court, and eating from her aurea plate, there came something pitter-patter up the marble stairs, and then there came a knocking at the door, and a voice crying, "Youngest Filia Regus, let me in!" And she got up and ran to see who it could be. But when she opened the door, there was Rana sitting outside. Then she shut the door hastily and went back to her seat, looking very pale. Rex noticed how quickly her heart was beating, and inquit, "My child, what are you afraid of? Is there a giant standing at the door, ready to carry you away?" "Oh no," answered she, "no giant, but a horrid Rana." "And what does Rana wolt?" rogawit Rex. "Oh dear pater," answered she, "when I was sitting by the fountain yesterday, and playing with my aurea pilla, it fell into aquam. And while I was crying for the loss of it, Rana came and got it again for me, on condition I would let him be my companion. But I never thought that he could leave aquam and come after me. But now there he is outside the door, and he wolt to come in to me." And then they all heard him knocking the second time and crying, "Youngest Filia Regus, open to me. By the founts aqua, what did you promise to me? Youngest Filia Regus, now open to me." Then Rex inquit, "What you have promised, that you must perform. Go and let him in." So she went and opened the door, and Rana hopped in, following at her heels till she reached her sallam. Then he stopped and cried, "Lift me up to sit by you." But she hesitated so long that at last Rex ordered her to obey. And as soon as Rana sat on Sella, he jumped onto the table and inquit, "Now push your rayon plate nearer so that we may eat together." And she did so, but as everyone saw, very unwillingly. Rana seemed to relish his dinner much, but every bit that Regis ate nearly choked her, till at last Rana inquit, "I have had enough now, and as I am tired, you must carry me to your room, and make ready your silken pillow, and I will lie down and go to sleep." At this speech Regis began to cry, for she was afraid of the cold Ranan, and dared none touch him. And besides, he actually wallowed to sleep in her own clean lecto. But her tears only made Regem very angry, and he inquit, "He who helped you in the time of your trouble must non now be despised." So she picked up Ranam with her finger and thumb, carried him upstairs, and put him in a corner. And when she had laid down to sleep, he came creeping up, and inquit, "I am tired, and wollo sleep as much as you. Take me up on your pillow, or I narabo regi." Then she felt beside herself with rage, but nevertheless took him up in her hand, and put him upon the pillow of her own lecti, where he slept all night long. But when she awoke on the following morning, she was astonished to see standing beside her lectum, instead of Ranai, a handsome prince. He narrowed to her that he had been enchanted by a spiteful fairy, who had changed him into Ranam, and that he had been fated so to abide till some maiden should take him out of the spring and care for him. "You," inquit the prince, "have broken his cruel charm, and now I wollo nothing more but that you should go with me into the kingdom of my patris, where I will marry you and love you as long as you live." The young Philia Regis, you may be sure, quickly inquit yes to all this, and as they spoke a carriage drove up, with 8 horses decked with plumes of feathers and arrayo harness, and behind the coach rode the prince's servant, faithful Henry, who had mourned the misfortunes of his dear master during his enchantment so long and so bitterly that his heart had almost burst. They then took leave of Regem, and got into the coach with 8 horses, and all set out full of joy and merriment for the prince's kingdom, which they reached safely, and there they lived happily a great many years. The end.